with Quentin and François for the beginning of the Institut's Youth Festival. I'm delighted to welcome them here today. Will you please now join me in welcoming François and Quentin.
We're each going to show you some of our books, not all of them, but some of them. We're then going to show you some original illustrations from the books, and then we're going to try and do some drawing, perhaps even together. This is advertised, because we've done it once or twice before, it's advertised as a duel. But it isn't really a duel, it's a sort of a collaboration, really. We don't know what we're going to draw, so we shall find out as we go along. And I just want to say I'm terribly pleased that I'm sitting here with François, because he's one of the illustrators I most admire in the world, especially because he can do things I can't do. They're wonderful drawings, and now François is going to show us some books, and then a little later we'll get on to the originals which he's brought with him.
Okay. I'm also deeply honored to be close to Quentin here, because he's also one of my favorite illustrators. And most of all, I think I went in an event in the English Embassy in Paris, and that it was called The Big Draw, and Quentin asked to young children to come, and we have just to draw with them, all of us. And I was amazed because the adults and the young children in a very this building, you know, is an embassy, so it's very impressive. And we were just drawing on the floor in the embassy, in the English Embassy, thanks to Quentin, because he thinks that to draw is just to be alive. And all of the drawings of Quentin are alive. You don't need to make animated films with it, because they just are in animation on the paper. Is it okay, what I say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely. We're going to draw something.
Fine.
Can I get some paper? people here who would like to ask questions, we could answer one or two questions.
Avez-vous déjà appris à dessiner?
Did you learn how to draw?
I used to draw when I was a child, and I didn't learn, but my father used to be a painter, and we had colors and we had brushes and things like that in the house, and I never stopped really drawing.
I used to do jokes for magazines, and some of them got published when I was quite young, when I was still at school. But the trouble was I could think of jokes, but I didn't know how to draw. And so I went to a university to study literature, and then afterwards I went to life classes in an art school. I did lots and lots of drawing in the life classes of an art school. I was never really taught, but it's just doing lots and lots of drawings where you actually learn how to do it. It's by enormous practice, isn't it?
Can you do another picture for us?
We'll do a small one. He's the man with the ideas. It's a work of art. How is that?
So I show you some drawings. So my first important book, which is Les Derniers Géants in French, The Last Giants, is made with very, very small drawings which are enlarged for the book. And you can see, if I show you the drawings, the original, so this is the actual size. I used to draw this kind of drawings when I was a young boy. Many people on a small area. So when I started my very, very first important book, the book with a story I invented, I did these drawings like when I was a boy, okay? So I'll show you some of them.
That's wonderful.
So if you see just my finger close to the drawing, you can see that it's a very, very, very tiny. So I show you some different styles, and after that, I think that Quentin will show you his work. So this is, for instance, a Japanese style for Le Vieux Fou de Dessin, the old man mad with drawing. These are from Wild Horse. You know this book, Wild Horse?
Yes.
Sure. It's about an African young prince who has difficulties to speak, and so it is a story about speaking and dancing. He learns to dance instead of being able to speak.
I think it's always interesting to see this, because sometimes people don't realize when they open a book and look at it that there's been a lot of experiment beforehand and deciding exactly how it works. And I notice on some of them you've actually shown where the words are going to go, which again is important, I think.
It's quite an alchemy between the text and the drawings we try to manage.
what is it like writing a book if you're not doing pictures for it?
Because when you just write without illustrating, it's just like you must be thinking about where are the pictures in the text. So you need to write with inside it. Because we are illustrators, we have always pictures in our head when we write too also. So I started to write, but with a lot of pictures inside my head.
This is a wonderful book.
Usually I do this kind of drawings from paintings. I have to do a lot of drawings before thinking that this is a good one, you see? And I waste a lot of paper.
I do the same thing. I have a very, very big waste paper basket. It's about like the books I'm going to show you are ones that I'm very pleased that my books appear in England, and a lot of them appear in France as well. And some books I've done especially for my French publishers. So this is a book that, but you can't get it in English. And it's important to me because it's a collection of French poems which I've illustrated, and that is supposed to be me in France reading a book. And they're poems which are some of them very well known in France. I mean, this is a poem by La Fontaine, but I illustrated them all. Some of them are very old poems. This is about a giant and a princess. Some are old-fashioned poems, like this one, which was written 400 years ago. But this one, for instance, is a very old, quite an old 19th century poem by Alfred Musset, but I brought it up to date so that these soldiers are not romantic soldiers that they were in the original poem, but present-day soldiers. And similarly here, this is a poem about what awful things happened in war, which is a poem which was written hundreds of years ago, but I made it look more like a contemporary war going on. This is another book which is an English book called Clown. He gets thrown out of windows quite a lot. And that's a way of telling the story just in pictures, and you can do that. Here he's being chased by this dog, and then the owner of the dog is not a very nice person, as you can tell from his boots, turns up and he looks at this wretched toy clown, picks him up, throws him, and he goes through that window on the right, and then the story goes on, a sailing boat in the sky. I wrote it with the help of 1,800 French-speaking children, so that everybody wrote suggestions about what might happen in the book. There's so much smoke and pollution that this boy can hardly breathe, and they rescue him. So there's a whole sequence of pictures, and it was very interesting to tell this story. All the ideas in the book come from classrooms in French-speaking schools. This is called, in English it's called Daddy Lost His Head. Their father, he comes back and he has no head. And so the children decide that the thing to do, they look everywhere for it, they can't find it, so they decide they're making one. It's full of jokes and things you can draw. So he's got what's he got? A potato for his nose, but it says if your father's nose is different, you can use a bit of a cauliflower or a carrot or a piece of a baguette. so it gives you the chance. And it's really rather an encouragement, I think, to all of us to make heads. This one is one which is another ship. It's a story that I wrote for myself so that I could draw these different kinds of things, so that they imagine that they're travelling about the world, going to the sort of places that François draws, and so they imagine they're in the Mediterranean. They imagine that if it's hot, that they're going to different places. They imagine that they're crossing the equator, and things of that kind. And just show you one of the nicest things to draw is there is lightning and Angelica Sprocket's pockets. It's just about someone who has a coat covered in pockets, and of course if you follow through the rhymes you find out the things that are in it. There are umbrellas when it rains, and towels and swimming costumes when the sun comes out. And of course for me the enjoyment is just it gets more and more exaggerated. There are skateboards, then there are crocodiles. This is a frightening creature. This is Sinbad hoping to attract a ship. And this is one of the birds in the story, which drops a rock, which drops rocks on their ship. I think probably we ought to stop there because we've said we would sign some books and we can't go on very late, so we'll do it for half an hour or something like that. So for those people who want to buy books or have got books, we'll see you outside. Thank you.
Thank you.